we are talking about today is table stripping. It's gonna be funny the whole time. The easy way, instead of like sanding for the rest of your life. And there is a super easy way to do this if you have a wood table and you're just wanting to get a different stain and you're not wanting to get rid of the wood table, but just update it to whatever your new decor or color scheme might be in your house. This is a really great way. This dining room table is actually crazy long. I think it is 18 feet, maybe 20 feet. It's insanely long. And it is going to end up going to our event room at Reclaim Warehouse Moore location. And it's gonna be so pretty. And I actually did a little test run that I'll show you up here at the top, because my initial thought, it's very traditional. It has this inlaid like scroll work going on. And so I thought it was gonna be really pretty just to get to strip it all the way down to its bare wood and do a really pretty gray stain on it. Well, once I stripped this top part of the table, it didn't exactly go that way. And so you can get all the stain up, but where it's inlaid with the scroll work, here, and I'll show you guys. Let's see, right here. So where the scroll work is actually still dark. And I wanted all of it to turn to like this, let's see if I can do this, raw wood color that's right here. And it's just not gonna do that. And so what I plan on doing, we are still going to strip the whole table so you can kind of see that process and how easy it is and how it works and all the things that you're gonna need to do that. But I'm still gonna paint this table. And so on Sunday evening, I'm gonna be back on here and I'm gonna show you how I am gonna make this look like a really awesome, like vintage farmhouse distressed table using our DIY paint that we have here in the store. So for today, what you are going to need is Citri strip. So it looks like this. And I just got this one at Lowe's. Not expensive. I did get the bigger bottle. This one's 64 ounces. It does come in a smaller, but I think you're gonna need the bigger one, even if your table isn't massive like this one. You're gonna need this. You are gonna need a scraper. Now the bottle says to use a plastic scraper, which if you are working on like grandma's table that was passed down to you and you want to make sure that you don't scar it up, I would probably use a plastic putty knife. So it looks like this. This part right here would be plastic, not metal, from your scraping. So you will need this. You'll need a wire brush. This one, I just bought in a 4-pack. This one actually is just a bristle brush, not a wire brush, because my wire brush I used over there and it's in a bucket right down here. So you'll get to see what that looks like. But it looks just like this, except for these are wire. It would also be, if you want to pick up some steel wool, kind of scrub it with that, and this, you'll be golden. Definitely get latex gloves because this is really messy and you don't want to get this stuff on your hands. And then you're gonna need a roll of paper towels. I like to get, what I have down here is a bucket I just have a tile sponge. If this has water in it, it really was not helpful for me to use the water for anything. So you really don't need that. It doesn't come off, like example. So this was what I scrubbed it with. This is my wire brush and I scrubbed it with the other day, and it's like full. It's completely full of gunk, and you can't get that gunk out of there with just water. So we really don't need water. I guess you just, I don't know. I felt better having it nearby, but okay. What else? Really, this is all you need. Plastic, what you see right here. So for sake of time, I went ahead and poured this all over the table. And then, a chip brush. which is just an inexpensive paintbrush. Yeah, we can chip brush. They're like $1 something, and right here. This is what you're gonna use to spread this on the table. So you're gonna pour this everywhere. You're gonna spread it with your chip brush, and then you're gonna buy a cheap, just inexpensive plastic drop cloth, which you could see here. Once you get it all kind of spread on there, you're going to take your plastic drop cloth and you're going to cover it. Now this just keeps it on the table where it stays moist and it doesn't dry out, so it lets it work a little bit longer. You're going to do this for 30 minutes is what it says. I've left mine on for an hour and it was great. It worked just as well, if not better. And so I did this 30 minutes ago so that way you could kind of see how easy it is. And then I will, before I start scraping, I will show you how you do it. So let's do that. I'm gonna flip you guys around right here. Okay, so instead of me talking, I could have just done it. So that way you could just, you know, watch and all of that. Let's get the gloves on. Okay, so here you have this. I seriously just, pull this back just a little bit, poured this on like so. The thicker that you put it on actually works better. I know some things don't work that way. Like if you use Gorilla Glue and you put that on really thick, that's a really bad plan. Because that stuff, if you've never used it, foams up really bad, and you're gonna have Gorilla Glue foam everywhere. If you have watched our floral tutorials, and you know that I use spray insulation for our foam, you don't want to overuse that, or you will have foam expanding all over your container. So this application, more is better. You just kind of goop it on, spread it around, okay? And spread it out, pat it on. And see how this is just keeping that air from getting in there. So letting it work longer without drying. Press the air bubbles out. Let it sit for about 30 minutes, pull it back and show you what to do next. Okay.
Are you good right here?
Yeah, maybe if, like scoochy a little bit so they can see. We pull this off. It's gonna be really sticky. See, can you guys see? Yeah, so we're gonna use our scraper here. Again, it says to use a plastic one. If you are getting in late, you'll want to use a plastic if you don't want to gouge your table. I'm using a metal scraper here, and you're just going to start scraping it off. And that, look at all that goop. Ew. And that, Marin's grossed out. That's what I use my paper towel for, is then I'm just gonna wipe that off of there and start over. And it literally just scrapes right off the table. Look at that. You know how much sanding you would have to do to get it to there? Saves so much time, so much money. If you've ever had to price sandpaper, it's super not cheap. And I just despise it. So, and there's something about this that's like therapy for me. I don't know, like scraping all this nasty gunk off of here.
That is so cool.
Isn't that cool? So now you can kind of see how like right in here, I did kind of gouge it. I'm painting mine, so again, that doesn't bother me at all. But if you are going to consider doing an heirloom type piece, or maybe you don't want the distressed type look, maybe that's not a good option for you and you'll want to use a plastic. multiple layers. So obviously I'm just doing it in the middle of the house. I'm not very sensitive to smells. Obviously I do a lot of new construction and remodels, and so I'm very used to the harsh fumes and sprays of lacquers and stains and things, but I still don't think, I can kind of smell it, but it's not like the really, really bad smell. So up here at the front, when I showed you the test run that I did yesterday or the day before, there were a couple of areas that were still sticky where I hadn't scraped it off good enough, but I just kind of took some sandpaper and lightly sanded it and it came off. The directions say to go ahead and buy a bottle of mineral spirits and to wipe your table down with that before you go to paint it or whatever you're gonna do next. I probably won't do that when I come back on Sunday. I'll probably just kind of feel around, make sure I don't have any sticky spots. If I do, I'll lightly sand it, make sure the whole thing just kind of feels bare, and call it good, and then I'll paint. So right here, you guys see that? Yeah. Like, look how easy. Can you see that? I just did a couple of wipes. Yeah, that's perfect. And just came right off. Now this table has a lot of detail on the edge, so I would take this and go all the way down. You see how it just kind of comes right on off. So now this is what I'm talking about with the, look how gross that is. So you just take this, go all around your edge. And when I kind of get to this point right here, honestly, I would go ahead and put more product on here, cover it with plastic again, let it sit another 30 minutes, rather than just scrubbing to death on this. That first couple of swipes really does grab a lot of it off. And so I don't understand why, there's no need to do extra arm work that you don't have to, in my opinion. Okay, so there's that. The ultimate goal is, let's see if we can move it like closer so you can really see. Oh yeah, right here. So this is what the ultimate goal is. This is what, if I was to try to restain this, this is what I'm going after. Obviously, you're still gonna have some dark spots, so this is where you would probably get your sandpaper out and just hit maybe these, or you could probably pour this on just the spot itself. Start again. Again, if you're just joining, this was not the look that I was going for on this project, and so I am gonna come back on Sunday and we're actually gonna paint this with our DIY paint and turn it into more of a white and gray farmhouse table, because this is going to go to our event room. But just so you can kind of see what the overall goal was of the table, it would be to make it all look like this. So on the painting, I'm gonna do it in several different layers. So if you really like the farmhouse or the chippy paint, if you're used to using chalk paint, that's kind of the look that I'm going with on this table. I am, however, using the DIY paint, and that is the paint that she uses. And it is awesome in a lot of different ways. If you're used to using Annie Sloan or several other different types of chalk paint, I used to use Annie Sloan before DIY. And it is a completely all-natural clay-based paint. So there are no fumes, no harsh chemicals inside this paint. And because there's no fumes, a lot of the times when I choose to paint, I'll do it right in the middle of the living room, and it's good for everybody. So this also is really great with blending, because you can also just spray it with water, start over again, blend multiple colors together, which are really good. The coverage is really great with this paint. What else? I don't know. I love this paint. It's really, really great. The colors that I'm using for this is going to be Skeleton Key, which is this really pretty soft, like muddled blue-green color. Letterpress Gray, which is a kind of a medium tone gray. And Vintage Linen, which is a white. And so my thoughts on this table, I did go ahead and the directions on the Citrus strip said to use mineral spirits and clean it up and all that. I didn't really do that. I just kind of sanded it down slightly just to kind of get off if there were any patches of residue. I just kind of cleaned that off. So my plan on this one is actually to kind of do some areas in the white. The scroll work here, I am going to go ahead and do in gray, and then I'm going, I'm sorry, in the, what was this one called? Skeleton key. And then the actual tabletop, I'm gonna do in the letterpress gray over those. So we are gonna layer some paint up here, and then we're gonna take our sandpaper, which I usually get 120 and 80 grit. I really like the sanding sponges to use for this better, especially when you're getting those edges and kind of pulling it up to get that natural distressed look, which is what you're going for with this. I know a lot of the pictures or questions or comments that I get on distressing is, well, mine doesn't look natural distressed at all. It just looks like chicken scratch all over the place. Well, there is a little bit of an art form and some thought process that goes into distressing. You really want to think about where this piece would naturally be worn, and that is the look that you're trying to achieve. So your edges, or like where you would be setting at the table, you want to work and wear that particular spot. The middle, that gets a little tricky because technically you wouldn't have a ton of stuff going on in the middle that would cause wear. What we're gonna do with the, what's the color of this one again? Skeleton key. I do have a smaller art brush for this. And I'm gonna go through, now this doesn't have to be perfect, we are sanding this area because I just want pieces of this that I'm going to sand off to kind of peek through. So we're just gonna follow the scroll work that is here now. Like that. You guys see that? Okay. So she's just gonna go through over here and do that. And I am gonna start on the white. Now the base of this top, let's see if I don't know how I'm gonna show you that. I'll have to show you that in a minute. I am doing white, and there's a lot of detail work on the base. So it's gonna be white, and then I'm actually gonna distress that back down to the stain. And so the top will just be white, distressed. The top is, did I say that backwards? Base? Yeah, that's right. Top is going to be actually mostly gray with white and the skeleton key kind of coming through in layers. So when you're putting this paint on, it's very thick. So you're gonna see like right here where it's really dark, it just takes one swoop and it's completely covered. So there's no primer necessary at all. My absolute favorite thing about the paint, which I didn't mention, is you really do not have to sand or prep work at all. I know I did with this one, only reason being was I was just gonna go ahead and show you how to use the Citrus strip in case you weren't wanting to paint, you were wanting to stain. It's the only reason why I sanded this table. Otherwise, we would have just gone right on with the painting. No prep work needed whatsoever. If you're new to painting, like period, when you're painting a table or anything that has elongated grain, you really want to paint with the grain of the wood in long strokes versus smaller short strokes. That's going to create a lot more brush strokes for you. Okay. Go back over there. So you can see, let's see on this angle, right over in here, how you can see the scroll lines. I think once I sand that, you're gonna be able to see that blue color kind of peeping through. So something else to keep in mind. So when it's drying, kind of turns to a chalky finish. Whenever you go to put that top coat back over it, it's going to really, that color's gonna brighten up and liven right back up. Definitely see what I'm talking about with the distressing better. Can you see that better? I feel like you're seeing the other one. Okay, sorry. Okay, so on the corners, really this one's pretty dry. Like to work it up and into the table. Let me get a rag. Okay, this is just a damp paper towel, just so you can kind of see a little bit better that edge. Okay, and you can kind of see how you're starting to see that, well, no, you can't see. You can see how the white is coming through right here on these edges. That's why I put the white on there first. Dry it. And I'm standing away on it because I'm not being patient. Okay. I'll wipe it off and then let you guys take a look. Okay, so this is where I tried to take it off. And it more just took the paint off with it. But I think it's just, I really do think it's because it wasn't maybe all the way dry. I might try it again right here where it seems more dry. But look at these edges. Oh, there we are. Okay, don't look down here where I didn't paint, but look like right here and all of this. This is kind of difficult. Okay, there we go. I know, can't see. Okay, so today we are in part 3 of the table series. Guys, this is the fun part. So what I've done for today is I finished one half of the table. It looks really great, so I'm excited to show it to you. It looks, I'm gonna say, like fancy farmhouse. Let me show you what it looks like. I don't know how, but okay. So down through here, let me find you a good spot. Let me swipe you guys off so you can. So down through here, can you see how I still kept those scroll pieces? And it's actually just layers and layers on top of that scroll work, kind of coming up through the top layers of the paint. There is still some of the wood part of the table below peeping through. The edges, look, this is tricky. Okay, so, oh yeah, you're good. Can you see parts? Oh, you can see Marcus. Everybody see Marcus? Parts of the gold. I'm not sure how well that is showing up for you on Instagram, but there are gold shimmers kind of in here, close up in this detail work here. So I'm super pumped how this turned out. I think it's really, really pretty. And actually, you know what, Maren, if you'll turn maybe this dining room light off, if you go to the other side of that wall, there's a button that says dining and yeah, push that. I actually think you're gonna be able to see because you're getting a glare off of, oh, it's off the window, dadgum. Okay, let me go this way. Yeah, yes, please. Okay, there you go. So there's another view. Maybe if I come this way, perhaps. Oh, there we are. That's better. Okay, so I had the gray, so then we're gonna go one more time and put the scroll work back on here. The first time I did the scroll work, and then I sanded it, didn't really show through super well. You don't have to be precise with this. You're gonna cover most all of it. And me already having the scroll work on here is completely cheating. This is not like my own artisan handwork. Just this look. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, so if you can see like right through in here, it's more of just a whitewashed, I'm gonna angle this one because it's like really bright on that side. Okay, there we go. So you can see kind of right in here where it's more just that gray is peeping up through those strokes. Just this alone I think is really pretty and would be a great finish for the table. Soften it that way. This tends to be the freak out part. I'll have people come in and they get to this part right here and say, oh my gosh, I've completely ruined my piece. What do I do now? And it's always about this stage in the process, because you have to keep in mind also, this is chalk paint, so when it dries, it's gonna dry really, really light. It's not even remotely the color that it's going to be once you put that top coat on it. So the top coat is really kind of what makes it all, the colors more vibrant and it just stand out so much better. So this right here is probably the pivotal point for freaking out. Even though parts of this is not dry, it's fine. We're gonna go ahead, go over it, because the great part will be when it touches some of that blue and spreads it around. We want that. Oh, okay. Well, that actually will also give you a great indication, the base, because one of the bases underneath this table is not painted at all. So you can kind of see the beginning stages of what this table looked like. And then the other one is not finished, but it does have the first coat showing that it's going to be mostly white, super distressed with some of the, whatever this green color was called again, skeleton key coming up through, because there's a lot of detail work on the base. Okay, so while this is drying, this would probably be a great time to somehow, I may have to take the phones off. I'll show you that. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Okay, this is what the table did look like. Oh, I'm glad nobody called me. I forgot to turn my ringer off. So it had this really dark stain, gold inlay, which is kind of great because when I go to distressing, some of this gold does pop through, and so it goes perfectly with my golden ticket that I kind of apply on there as well. Dadgum, you know what I forgot? Guess what I forgot? I didn't put some golden ticket on there. Don't worry, we'll add it. On the scroll work, I had added it to the scroll work before I put the white on. It's totally fine, it's still good. Hopefully this isn't too dark here. And I have a dog right here. Okay, here we are. So this is what this side is looking like right now. It's mostly all white. Get close up, you can kind of see that skeleton key coming through in places. Not done at all with this. There's still lots of distressing that I'm gonna do, which is gonna be great because all of this detail work right here, distressing will be super easy. All of these lines of detail here will distress out really great and really easily, and you'll have really good dark brown lines coming up from that, which will look more like, man, lighting, you guys, it's the struggle. Okay. More like this. So see how good that right there is? So that down there will be so pretty. Here's another example right here. While this is drying the rest of the way out, I'm gonna go ahead and add that golden ticket that I was talking about. Actually, I think this was the stage I did it. Just kidding. I did it after I had added some more of the white. Here's a trick for you on your paint. If it's stuck, like your rim is stuck here, you cannot open it. I normally bang it against the ground, just this like top edge of the lid. Woo. I have a brick wall, but just banging it along that edge will knock that seal loose and it comes right off. Done it for years. Okay. This is by Paint Pixie. Pretty sure it's called French Tip. I'm pretty positive it doesn't say on it, but I'm pretty sure that's what Dion says. And she knows all the things paint related. Okay, so I just kind of go through, ooh, that's definitely wet. Pick some dry spots and add some of that golden shimmer. It's very translucent. Remember the rules on hitting the edges really hard, because the edges are what's going to be distressed first in a piece. And And to cheat, I'm probably gonna get my orbital sander out, so it may be a little bit loud, but this will take like minutes versus 10, 20 minutes of sanding. This would be quite a job if you were going to just use your sanding block. One thing you can definitely tell, so where, like right here where I didn't sand at all, it's very, very kind of rough and chalky finished feeling. You definitely feel the brush strokes, and then up here where I just lightly sanded, it's so smooth, like butter smooth. So keep that in mind when you're doing this and you're thinking, well, this just feels terrible. It feels like I finished it myself and I don't want it to look like I don't know what I'm doing. Sanding. You just kind of need to sand that down and make it smooth like butter. Okay, so I'm gonna grab the orbital sander so this doesn't take long. And if you like to find the shortcuts and things like I do, see how that works. If you've never used one of these, the sanding discs actually just Velcro on there. Make sure you kind of clean your grooves out. We don't want that dust staying inside there and then just getting paint on it and then filling in our cracks.
You can see that gold.
Yeah, see that gold? So some of that was the gold that was already on there, and then some of it was like right in here is more of just a shimmer from the golden ticket that we put on. So it's like they almost play off of one another, which is really great. All of this out of the way because we're fixing to make a mess. Okay. Here we are. Letterpress gray. So we're just going to not do a solid. This isn't going to be a solid application, but kind of more similar to the white, where leaving some gaps, you're just kind of spreading some on, and then you're going to really douse this down with water, and then you're going to use the putty knife. You can cover some of the areas. This is the beauty of painting and chalk painting furniture. If there's ever an area that you just don't love how it turned out, you just paint it again. It's gonna catch. Oh yeah, there we go. So it's gonna catch inside some of the brush strokes here. It's going to, it sounds like I'm saying brush stroke, brush strokes. Some of it's going to stay, and then you're gonna have these little cool parts like this. I start on one side and I drag all the way down and let it roll off the end. Don't worry about the ends yet. So it's almost like your paint has become rain and it's just raining down your table. I wet my paper towel just a little bit. Chelsea and Charlie. Scared of the water bottle. Bulldog parents on here because there's nothing quite like a bulldog. They are the craziest creatures. They're not like a dog. Okay. So here we go. Scrape it again. This is how that's gonna come up. Your scroll work is going to come back up through. So you're basically just gonna keep scraping until you get that look that you're loving. Carly, what's the deal? You don't like it when I paint or what? Wigging out. Okay. Sprays.
Where you're gonna get the paint.
Marcus, you can't. You're gonna get paint dripped on you, buddy. Go, go. Oh, he's gonna come right back. So this is my dog. Marcus is a super old English bulldog. You can definitely see now why you need a drop cloth. Get some of my scrapes off. Kind of recheck my other side here. So at this point, also remember, everything is going to, it's pretty wet right now because of the water. It's going to dry and it's going to be really, really light once it's dry. It's gonna darken back up once you put that top coat on there. DIY paint does make a top coat, which I think is really great for pieces like accent tables, or maybe a hutch that you aren't really going to use all that much. You might put just more of decorative pieces on it, but it's not for everyday wear and tear. Something like this, where, especially since it's going to the event room, I will put a polyacrylic over the top here. Not polyurethane. Polyurethane yellows, so you definitely do not want to do that. But a polyacrylic would be a really good option for that. I'd probably put 2 to 3 coats of that. You'll want to let it sit pretty well in between your coats. Let it dry out and cure really well in between there. Just got a little bit of paint over here on this side. Okay, so what you're seeing here, they look great. How at first I was worried about, since I did this a couple of days ago and now I'm coming to do this, that I wouldn't do the same process. It looks spot on. It looks really, really good. Super happy with it. This side is a little bit darker right now, only because it's not completely dried out. These dark spots in here are Still really wet from the water that we sprayed on it. The gold looks great. You'll want to make sure, wipe your edges really good where that paint dripped down. But once it is dry, you won't, like right here I have some drips. Once that's dry, those drips will not be there, it'll dry out. All of this looks good. Okay, I appreciate you all for being here today. This was such a great fun project, so if you go and try it, make sure to tag me or share it with us or